"Stop thief, get back here." My lungs were burning, my legs pumping like pistons against the hot asphalt. I could feel the sweat trickling down my back under the cheap, oversized suit jacket I'd bought from a thrift store bin. I looked ridiculous, I knew that. A black man in a suit 3 sizes too big, sprinting through the pristine streets of the Upper East Side, chasing a guy who had snatched a purse. But I didn't care about how I looked. I cared about the $20 in my pocket and the sick little girl waiting for me at home. I vaulted over a park bench, ignoring the stitch in my side. The thief turned a corner, tossing a red helmet backward to slow me down. I caught it, skidding to a halt, my chest heaving. That was when I saw him. A kid, maybe 9 years old, dressed in clothes that cost more than my entire year's rent. He was staring at me, not with fear but with a cold, detached curiosity. I wiped the sweat from my forehead, trying to deepen my voice, trying to stay in character. "Mr. Marcus King," that was the name on the fake resume. That was the mask I wore. "Here, kid," I tossed the helmet to him. "Don't just stand there. If you see a bad guy, you don't freeze, you act." The kid blinked. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm nobody," I muttered, turning away. "Just a guy trying to survive." But survival was getting harder every day. "My real name is Tara. I'm a single mother, a black woman living in a city that tries to crush people like me every single day. My daughter Maya is everything to me. She's 7 with eyes like deep pools of chocolate and a smile that hides the pain she's constantly in. She's sick. Leukemia. The word tastes like ash in my mouth. We needed money, real money, not the pennies I made scrubbing floors. I saw the ad for the Sterling family. They needed a tutor for their troubled son. The pay was astronomical, $10,000 a month. Enough to get Maya the best doctors, enough to save her. But they wouldn't hire a black woman from the projects. I knew the world. I knew how they looked at resumes with names like mine. So I killed Tara, and I became Marcus. I cut my hair, I bound my chest. I practiced the walk, the talk, the low rumble of a voice. I walked up the driveway of the Sterling estate the next day. It wasn't a house, it was a fortress. White marble, manicured hedges, towering gates that screamed "keep out." My heart was hammering against my ribs. If they caught me, I'd go to jail for fraud. But I looked at the picture of Maya in my wallet, her pale face smiling up at me, and I pushed the buzzer. I was led into a study that was bigger than my entire apartment building. Sitting behind a desk made of dark mahogany was Julian Sterling, the billionaire, the recluse. He looked up, his eyes empty. He was handsome in a tragic, broken way. He had a scar running down the side of his face, a souvenir from a car accident 7 years ago, an accident that wiped his memory. He didn't know me. He didn't know that 7 years ago, I pulled him from a burning wreck. He didn't know we had lived together, loved together, before his family snatched him back and erased me from his life. "So you're the tutor?" Julian asked, his voice flat. "Mr. King?" "Yes, sir," I said, keeping my voice in the lower register. "Top of my class, doctorate by 26, studied abroad." I recited the lies smoothly. He looked me over. He didn't seem impressed by the degrees. He seemed tired. "I don't care about your papers, Mr. King. My son Leo has chased away 10 tutors. He's a monster. If you can last a week, you're hired." I nodded. "I can handle a kid, sir. I'm tougher than I look." That's when the door opened, and the temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. She walked in like she owned the air we breathed. Victoria, Julian's fiancée, a woman so polished, so sharp, she looked like she was made of plastic and venom. She took one look at me and her lip curled in disgust. It wasn't just dislike, it was hate, pure unadulterated racism wrapped in a designer dress. "Julian," she said, her voice high and grating. "Who is this?" "This is the new tutor," Julian said. Victoria walked up to me, circling me like a shark. She sniffed the air theatrically. "What is that smell?" she asked, wrinkling her nose. "Is it damp earth or just cheap detergent?" She stopped in front of me, looking me up and down with eyes that stripped away my dignity. "Mr. King, is it?" She laughed, a cruel, tinkling sound. "You don't look like a tutor. You look like you should be carrying the luggage, or perhaps mowing the lawn." I clenched my fists at my sides, forcing myself to stare straight ahead. "I am qualified, miss," I said stiffly. "Qualified?" she scoffed. "People like you always think you can just put on a suit and pretend to be one of us. But the suit doesn't fit, does it? It hangs off you, just like your pretenses. You have a certain look, a look that says you don't belong in a house with white carpets, a look that says you belong in the back alley." Julian sighed. "Victoria, please, he's here to work." "Oh, I'm sure he is," she spat. "They're always here to work, until the silver goes missing. I want a background check, Julian, a full one. I don't trust eyes like his, shifty, dark, dangerous." She leaned in close, her perfume choking me. "Watch yourself, boy. One wrong move, one toe out of line, and I will have you thrown out so fast your head will spin. This isn't a charity shelter. This is the Sterling estate. And we don't do handouts for the help." She stormed out, leaving a silence that felt heavy and suffocating. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I had faced bigotry before. I had been followed in stores. I had been ignored by doctors. But this was personal. She wanted to destroy me just for existing in her space. Julian looked at me, almost apologetically. She's protective. Just teach the boy. I met Leo in the library. He was the kid from the street, the one I'd given the helmet to. He was sitting on a table, tearing pages out of a textbook and throwing them into a lit fireplace. Leo, I said sternly, that's enough. He turned, grinning wickedly. Oh, it's you, the nobody. My dad hired you. He must be desperate. Get out. I'm not studying. I walked over and grabbed the book from his hands. I am not the others, Leo. I don't scare easy, and I don't quit. You want to burn books? Fine, but you're going to learn the contents first. You can't make me, he screamed. Do you know who my father is? He owns this city, and you're just a servant, a black servant. Victoria told me all about you. She said you're only here because of some quota. She said you're dirty. Is it true? Do you live in the slums? Do you eat out of the garbage? My heart broke, not for me but for him. He was 9 years old, and he was already parroting the poison she fed him. I knelt down so I was eye level with him. Leo, look at me. I'm a man, just like your father. And where I come from, or what I look like, doesn't define my worth. Your brain does. And right now, your brain is empty because you're too busy acting like a fool. He stared at me shocked. No one spoke to him like that. Over the next few weeks, it was a battle. I brought Maya with me disguised as my niece because I couldn't afford a sitter. I told Julian she was a study buddy for Leo. Surprisingly, he agreed. He seemed to see something in Maya. Maybe it was her gentleness. Maya changed everything. She didn't care about Leo's money. She didn't care about his temper. She just sat next to him and helped him with his math. You're doing it wrong, she'd whisper. You have to carry the one. It's like sharing. Leo softened. He stopped screaming. He started learning. But the better Leo got, the angrier Victoria became. She watched us like a hawk, looking for any excuse to fire me. One night at dinner, which I was grudgingly allowed to attend, sitting at the far end of the table like an unwanted guest, Victoria struck. Julian's mother, the matriarch, was visiting. A stern woman who valued tradition above all else. Grandmother, Victoria said, swirling her wine glass, I've been looking into Mr. King's credentials. It's funny. I called the university he claims to have attended. They have no record of a Marcus King. In fact, there is no record of him existing before 3 years ago. My fork froze halfway to my mouth. The room went silent. Is this true? Julian asked, looking at me. His eyes weren't angry, just disappointed. I changed my name, I stammered. Legal reasons, a fresh start. Likely running from the law, Victoria sneered. That's what your kind does, isn't it? You commit crimes, you scam honest people, and then you change your names and hide in plain sight. Look at him, Julian, look at his hair. It's nappy, unkempt, it's unprofessional. It's offensive to look at while I'm trying to eat. And that child he brought, that little girl, she looks sickly. She looks like she carries diseases. Who knows what she's bringing into this house? Lice, fleas. Poverty is contagious, you know. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. I could handle the insults to me. But Maya, my sick, innocent daughter, that was the line. Miss Victoria, I said, my voice shaking with suppressed rage. My niece is cleaner, kinder, and more intelligent than you will ever be. She has a heart, something you clearly traded away for your plastic face and your hollow soul. You sit there and judge us by the color of our skin and the texture of our hair, but let me tell you something. Dirt washes off. Ugly attitudes like yours, that stains forever. Victoria gasped, clutching her pearls. Did you hear that? He threatened me. He insulted me in my own home. Julian, throw him out. Throw him into the street where he belongs. Julian looked at me, then he looked at his mother, then he looked at Leo. Leo, who was sitting quietly, finishing his vegetables. Mr. King, the grandmother said slowly, my grandson got an A on his history exam today, the first A of his life. Victoria's mouth dropped open. So, he probably cheated for him. These people lie. It's in their nature. Enough, Julian said. His voice was quiet, but it commanded the room. Mr. King stays. Results matter more than your prejudices. Victoria, now let's eat. I sat back down, my heart pounding. I had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Victoria glared at me across the table, her eyes promising retribution. You'll slip up, she mouthed, and when you do, I'll crush you. A week later, the nightmare began. I was in the garden with Leo and Maya. They were playing tag. I was watching them, allowing myself a moment of happiness. Suddenly, Maya stopped running. She grabbed her stomach. Her face went grey. Daddy, she whispered. She collapsed onto the grass. Maya, I screamed, forgetting the voice, forgetting the act. I ran to her, scooping her up in my arms. She was burning up. We need a hospital, I yelled. Julian came running out of the house. He saw me holding her, saw the terror in my eyes. Get in the car, he shouted. He drove like a madman. I sat in the back, cradling Maya, rocking her back and forth, whispering prayers. Please, baby, please hold on. Don't leave me, not now. At the hospital, chaos erupted. The doctors took her away. I was left packing the hallway, my disguise feeling heavy and suffocating. Julian stood by the window watching me. Mr. King, he said softly, the way you held her. That wasn't an uncle. That was a parent. I froze. I looked at him. I couldn't lie anymore, not with Maya's life on the line. I reached up and pulled off the fake glasses. I unbuttoned the collar of the oversized shirt. It's Tara, I whispered. My name is Tara. I'm her mother. Julian didn't look angry. He looked confused and pained. He rubbed his temples, a grimace of agony crossing his face. Tara, he murmured, the name. It sounds familiar. Suddenly, the elevator doors dinged. Victoria stepped out, and she wasn't alone. She was dragging a woman with her, my stepmother, Wangmi, the woman who had stolen my inheritance and kicked me out on the street 7 years ago. There he is, Victoria shrieked, pointing a manicured finger at me. Or should I say, there she is. I told you, Julian. I told you it was a scam. This man is a woman, a fraud, a lying, manipulative ghetto con artist. And look, I brought proof. My stepmother stepped forward, grinning with rotten teeth. That's her, all right. That's Tara, my ungrateful stepdaughter. She stole money from me and ran off to the city. She's been lying to everyone for years. Victoria marched up to me, her face twisted in triumph. I knew it. I knew you were filth. You cross-dressing freak. You tricked my fiancé. You invaded our home. You exposed our heir to your lifestyle. You are disgusting. You are an abomination. Look at you. You look like a man because you're too ugly to be a woman. No wonder you hid. I'd hide too if I looked like that. I stood there trembling, not from fear, from rage. Julian looked between us, his head pounding. Why, he asked me, why lie? Because, I cried, tears streaming down my face. Because no one would hire a black single mother for a job like this. Because my daughter is dying of leukemia and I needed the money to save her. I did it for her. Leukemia, Julian whispered. The color drained from his face. Yes, Victoria laughed. A sick child. Another burden. Julian, call the police. Have her arrested for fraud. Let the state take the kid. It's probably better off in the system than with a mother like this. A mother who looks like trash. The doctor came out of the room then. His face was grim. MS, Mr. Whoever the parent is, she needs a bone marrow transplant. Immediately, we need to test you, but we really need the father. The biological father is usually the best match. I looked at Julian. I had to tell him. It was the only way. Julian, I said, my voice breaking, you need to get tested. Why would I get tested? He asked. Because, I sobbed, ripping the scarf from my neck to reveal the butterfly tattoo there. 7 years ago, the fire in the West District, you don't remember, but I do. You lived with me. We were in love. You are her father, Julian. Julian stared at the tattoo. He stumbled back, clutching his head. A scream tore from his throat. Memories, locked away by trauma and his controlling family, came flooding back. The fire, the rescue, the small apartment, me. He looked up, his eyes clear for the first time in years. Tara, he whispered. Victoria stepped in between us. Don't listen to her. It's another lie. She's trying to trap you. Look at her skin, Julian. Look at that child. She's dark. You are a sterling. You are white. That mongrel cannot be yours. It is scientifically impossible. She slept with some thug and is trying to pin it on you for a payday. Julian pushed past her. He walked up to me. He looked at my face, really looked at me. Doctor, he said, his voice shaking, run the test. Run the paternity test. Now. Julian, Victoria screeched. Are you insane? You are humiliating me. You are choosing this animal over me. I am your fiancé. I am society. If she is my daughter, Julian said, turning to Victoria with eyes like ice, then she is the heir to my empire. And you are just noise. The next hour was the longest of my life. Victoria paced the hall, muttering slurs, calling her lawyers, threatening to burn the hospital down. My stepmother sat in the corner, demanding money for her time. Finally, the doctor returned. He held a piece of paper. The results are conclusive, he said. 99.9% probability. Mr. Sterling is the father. Victoria let out a shriek that sounded like a dying banshee. No, it's rigged. She bribed you. She's poor. How could she bribe anyone? Julian fell to his knees. He grabbed my hands. He kissed them. I'm sorry, he wept. I'm so sorry I forgot you. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. He stood up and turned to Victoria. The look on his face was terrifying. Get out. Victoria gaped. What? Get out of my sight. You insulted my daughter. You insulted the woman I love. You called them animals. You called them filth. You are the only filth here, Victoria. The wedding is off. The partnership is dissolved. If I ever see you near my family again, I will destroy you. I will take every penny you have. I will make you as poor as you think they are. Victoria stared at him, stripped of her power, stripped of her arrogance. She looked at me, hate burning in her eyes, but she saw something else too. She saw that she had lost. She turned and ran, her heels clacking on the linoleum, a rat fleeing a sinking ship. Julian looked at my stepmother. And you sold your own family out. Get out before I have you arrested for extortion. She ran too. 2 days later, the surgery was done. Julian was a match. He saved Maya. I sat by her bed as she woke up, her skin pink and healthy. Julian was holding her hand. Leo was standing there, looking at his little sister with awe. Hey, Leo whispered, you're my real sister. Maya nodded weakly. I guess so. Cool, Leo grinned. That means nobody can bully us, because we're Sterlings, and Sterlings run the world. I looked at Julian. He smiled at me, a genuine, warm smile. I wasn't Mr. King anymore. I wasn't the help. I was Tara. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't running. I was home. The bullies, the racists, the Victorias of the world, they would always be there. But now I knew how to fight them, not with a disguise, but with the truth. And the truth was, we were worth everything.
If you really like our video that CEO and billionaire pretend to be broke, so please like, share and subscribe.